it's an interesting challenge because all of you folks here you have two different missions. I mean, the mission is to develop the audience, obviously, as best you can, but you also want to be a platform for music discovery. And at some point, there's a bit of a conflict. Where on the intersection of the two lines do you want to be? You could develop and have a much bigger audience and be helping more people discover less music, or you can have fewer people discovering more music. So I think that's a really interesting challenge. That the panel that was earlier today about competing with the devil or fighting with the devil, which I thought was a great title. I think it's more than just whether you're getting the presents on a concert. There's a lot to be said for how does one engage in a competitive commercial world. I would say that I think non-commercial radio has some great advantages now that commercial radio does not have. John Hart from The Bridge made a really fabulous comment, many comments that were fabulous, but one that struck me was because of consolidation in the radio industry on the commercial side, the incredible debt loads that all these companies have kind of forced them into doing a number of things that make radio, commercial radio, not very interesting. Yeah. And so non-com radio, I think, has a great opportunity, and the stations that are really doing well, I think, are doing it, WXPN being one of them, of what I call the four pillars of great content in radio, being very local. And that means not just local music, that means being engaged in the community and the on-air talent talking about what's going on in town, doing local events. So there's a whole long list of things that can be done to localize. The other thing is the immediacy of being live, and it doesn't just mean live music, although that's a part of it, but so many stations across the country now and so many satellite stations are voice tracked, yeah, right. You know, and I think that makes it far less interesting. So I think the immediacy of being live, personalities, and personality widely defined. It doesn't mean the morning zoo, you know, with horns and buzzers. You know, it can mean deeply knowledgeable on-air talent about music. It can mean someone that's deeply engaged in the community and is out and all the time. It can be very broadly defined. So I think those things, and another is promotion. You know, when I grew up listening to the radio here in Philadelphia, listening to Wibbage and WIBG and WFIL, and listening to WABC in New York, WMCA. These were exciting radio stations, and I think commercial radio has completely ceded that ground. So if I were given the opportunity to, you know, program or manage a non-com station, I would hit all those elements really hard.